What's up YouTube? This is your boy AfroJoeTCG, and today I want to show you guys an updated version of my Invoked Blue-Eyes deck that I posted on my channel about 2 months ago. I know a lot of you guys liked the first build, and through testing I believe that this build is actually faster and more consistent than my previous build. So I hope you guys enjoy it, and without further ado, let's just start with the deck profile. So the deck consists of your 1 Morphish Goliath and your 1 Archbrave for the Morphish Goliath lock, your 3 Blue-Eyes White Dragon, and your 3 alternative White Dragon, which are standard. Your 2 Dragon Spirit of White. I've seen people alternate between 1 and 2 copies of this card. I actually did consider putting this card down to 1 copy, but I'm keeping it at 2. And the big reason is because I'm not running any other back row removal besides him, so I need to have as many consistent ways of removing back row as possible. On top of that, it's a level 8 monster, which combos well with Xyz cards in my extra deck, synchro materials, and even being able to use it for trading card gate is nice as well. Your 2 Whitestone Ancients, I still say it again, I think 3 is way too many. Even in a pure Blue Eyes build, I don't see the point of running 3. But 2 is just a great number. You very rarely ever use 2 in a game, but 1 is always consistent. But you like having the second one in case you draw into the first one, which you can send off of Merkaba's effect or the Alyester Fusion Summon, or you can just send it to the graveyard with your Dragon Shrine or your Brilliant Fusion and just get more field advantage. Your 1 copy of Whitestone Legend is such an amazing card. The ability for you to send it to your grave with Brilliant Fusion or your Dragon Shrine to allow you to search out Blue-Eyes White Dragon is phenomenal. And then even with Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter Dragon, if you didn't have an alternative in your hand or you didn't make one that turn, you can just send a copy of Whitestone Legend, a alternative, and a Whitestone Ancient, and that's an instant copy of Blue-Eyes Alternative White Dragon right there, which is crazy. Then you have your 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. I bumped it up from 2 to 3, and my biggest reason for doing so is because when I started editing this deck, I decided to do it from scratch. And the way I did it was I edited the deck so that all my combo cards, or combo starting cards, if I should be more precise, would be maxed out. And Sage was a card that in testing I always used to make the traditional board combo that I made a combo tutorial of, which I'll have in the link description down below for that. But just being able to do your combos with Sage is amazing. And then your 3 Alyester, for a similar reason, it starts off all your Invoked combos, so I feel like running 3 is mandatory. I've seen people run 2, and I understand the reasoning. It saves deck space, and mass drawing into Alyester really does suck. But even if you draw into an extra one, it just gives you the ability to beat over necessary threats. And this is really good in the Dino matchup, where they have Ultimate Conductor to Tyranno, which can beat over pretty much every card in your deck. And that's actually rare, as no other deck in the game can actually do that better than a Blue Eyes deck, besides Dinos, which is crazy. So having extra Alyester just gives you the ability to push for more damage, which is nice in my opinion. And then 1 copy of Gemini Lazuli. Gemini Lazuli, I know a lot of people don't like the Brilliant Fusion engine, which is understandable. If you draw Lazuli, your Brilliant Fusions are all dead. And Brilliant Fusions, in some people's opinion, can clog. However, in my testing, it didn't clog me once. And to me, it's worth the risk just because of the fact that having Brilliant Fusion allows you to do 2 normal summons a turn, gets grave set up, and allows you to make boards like a turn 1. For example, if you had Alyester, Sage, and the Brilliant Fusion, you can have a board of Dark Matter, Metaba, Seraph Knight, any Blue Eyes monster of your choice. That's either from Blue Eyes White Dragon or Blue Eyes Spirit or Dragon Spirit of White. And you'll also have the Morphish Goliath on your opponent's standby phase as well. So that's 5 cards on your board from 3 cards, which is just incredible. And you also have a negate from that combo, and you have basically a walking D barrier. So that's too good to pass up. And even if you draw the Gemini Lazuli, it's not bad. If you have Alyester, you can still make a Metaba. And as I stated earlier, Alyester plus Sage starts up a lot of combos, and if you have it with Lazuli, you can still make the Morphish Goliath. You can still make the Morphish Goliath lock by going for a Dark Matter. Granted, you will have less. Then, granted, you will just break even most likely. You won't exactly plus, but it's still worthwhile in my own personal opinion. And that's it for the monsters. It's 20. Onto the spells. I run 3 copies of Trade-In. My rule on Trade-In is you want to make sure for each copy of Trade-In, you need to have at least 3 targets for it. And I run exactly 9 level 8s, so I'm trying out max copies of Trade-In. And so far, it's working really well. If you guys test this build out and you end up deciding that you don't like having the extra copy of Trade-In, just cut it out and put in something like a Mat C or any other card that you feel is necessary in a deck. Then I also run 2 copies of Wonder Wand. Wonder Wand is so good. It gives you the ability to just have some insane draw power. Combos well with Aleister, and I prefer it over Cards of Consonance in this build because I have 6 targets for Wonder Wand, but only 3 for Cards of Consonance. So I'm more consistently going to get the Wonder Wand off. Not to mention that Aleister recycles itself, so I'm going to pretty much always have a target for Wonder Wand. Your 3 copies of Melodies of the Awakening Dragon are your search cards. I bumped up to 3 because Alternative is an easy level 8 to get on board, and the extra level 8 just lets you go for XCs or Synchro plays much easier, and Melody searches out that combo, like I said. So having 3 copies of your search cards is really nice to have, and that's also my reasoning for Reckless Magic Circle or Magical Meltdown, as it searches out your Aleister, which starts a lot of your fusion plays. And then I bumped down my Invocation down to 1, and I'm debating this one still to this day. Invocation at 1 is all you need for all your combos, that I will say up to the end. But one thing that sucks is that DD Crow is a card that's being played, and having only 1 Invocation means you are going to be DD Crow bait. So if you play DD Crow your 1 Invocation, you lose all your fusion plays and all your Aleister loops. So that does shut down a lot of your deck, but running 2 just takes away from card space, and I like keeping my decks at 40, especially this one where I'm so reliant on ratios on certain combos that running even an additional card can drop the consistency of a deck ever so slightly. So I'm keeping the 1 Eidolon Summon Magic for right now. If I feel like I need a second one, I'll just bump it up to 2 and then find the card to take out for it. Dragon Shrine is another card I just recently added to the deck, and Dragon Shrine is actually extremely good. Dragon Shrine allows me to send basically a normal and then any other dragon from my deck to my graveyard. This sets me up for grave plays. If I send a copy of Whitestone, it's an instant blue eye search. If I send a copy of Whitestone and Ancients, that just sets me up for another monster during my end phase, or just recycle ability plays, which is really, really nice to have. And then you have your 3 Brilliant Fusion, which not only also dumps cards from your deck to your graveyard, they're not your deck. It even gives you the ability to go for Gemini Seraph Knight, which lets you normal summon twice. And as I showed on my combo tutorial, which I have a link in the description down below, Brilliant Fusion allows you to make incredible boards that you normally would never be able to make. Like, Brilliant Fusion plus Aleister plus Sage is a board of Dark Matter, Merkaba, a Blue-Eyes White Dragon or Spirit or Dragon Spirit of White, whichever one you prefer, a Seraph Knight, and the Amorphous Goliath on your opponent's standby phase. So that's 5 cards you have in field from 3. And depending on your other 2 cards in your hand, like if you had a Return Dragon Lords, for example, you not only have additional protection for your Amorphous Goliath, but you potentially could have had a Hope Heartbringer Dragon on that field instead of just having the Blue Eyes card, which is amazing. So that's my reasoning for running the Brilliant Fusion Dungeon. If you don't like it because it's cloggy, be my guest and take it out, but I feel like at least give it a chance. And then I'm also running 3 Returning Dragon Lords and 1 Soul Charge. Because Returning Dragon Lords protects your dragons, necessity at this point, it revives, allowing you to extend your combos. And like I said, reviving not only lets you win, but Soul Charge takes that to a whole new level, letting you mass revive. And if you basically draw Soul Charge with this deck, you should pretty much just auto-win at this point. And that's it for the main deck. That's 40 cards. Onto the extra. 1 Gemini Seraph Knight, as mentioned earlier, lets you normal summon twice. It's an Earth target as well, letting you go for Mad Atlanta. 1 copy of Tocytis. This could be any fusion of your choice. This could be Twin Burst. This could be the Dark Caligula. This could be a Crystal Wind if you have access to it. But it could be any card in your extra deck of your choice. I picked Tocytis because even though I predict Paleozoics will be going down in the upcoming format, I still think that Paleozoics will still be a popular enough deck that having Tocytis is relevant enough for me to have it in the extra deck. And Tocytis basically allows me to auto-win. Not auto-win, but it makes it a lot harder for my opponent to beat me if we're playing Paleozoics because they can't target this card. And it can't be targeted with card effects, and it can't be destroyed by my opponent's card effects. So pretty much everything they have to get rid of it is gone. On top of that, it's 2900 wall, so without Cat Shark, they're not going to be able to beat Other's card either, which is crazy. And then you also have a topic Purgatorio, because, again, you can actually summon this card off of Dinos, which is really nice. You also have Megalanita, which, again, you can summon off of Dinos, and you can actually summon it off your own Seraphonite, as I mentioned earlier, or off your Zully you set with Brilliant Fusion, and it's level 8, which actually is necessary for you to go into some of your Xyz plays. 2 of your Merkaba, because it's a negation card, and depending on which route you decide to go, you can go with 1 Merkaba or 2 Merkabas in 1 turn, which is just plenty of negation power right then and there. And then for your Synchro monsters, we start off with the 1 Ancient Fairy, with field spells becoming more popular, specifically with True Kings and True Dracos, or Diagram specifically being a field spell. You actually can pop their field spell to search out your copy of Reckless Match's Circle, and then do the Aleister plays from there, which is pretty nasty. On top of that, you can actually special summon one of your level 1 tuners, and then just do a synchro play from there. One copy of Stardust Spark Dragon, because Stardust Spark is necessary for one of the combos where you can make the Morpheus Goliath lot via going to Dark Matter, without having to rely on your Aleister combos to make it happen, or Brilliant Fusion for that matter. And then you have your 1 copy of Azure Eyes. I think that 1 is really all you need. You're never going to go into 2 in a game. Games don't usually last that long. And once you get this card out, and if you have an established board, you're pretty much, I won't say you're guaranteed to win, but your win chance is greatly increased. And then 1 Blue-Eyed Spirit Dragon, for a similar reason. You're only going to get this effect off once, and you're mainly going to use this card's effect not to negate grave effects, which it can do. You're mainly going to use it to bring out the Azure Eyes on your opponent's turn with your Morpheus Goliath lock to protect your Morpheus Goliath and the rest of your dragons, making it so that your opponent really is not going to have a way to break your near unbreakable board as it is. And then for the Xyz monsters, the Galaxy package, most people usually only run Cypher, and then they go straight to Full Armor, then the Dark Matter. But I'm also running the Prime, and my reasoning is because if you use your Cypher and you go straight into Dark Matter, not only do you have a dead Full Armor Photon Dragon, but you also wasted arguably the best of the generic Galaxy Eyes monsters that you can summon. And in order to make sure that doesn't happen, I rather add the Prime Photon Dragon so I can go straight into Dark Matter from there. So where in case they break my board, I can actually still make the Cypher, take their card, and if it succeeds, I can just overlay on top of it with Full Armor, and I'll still be able to swing with 3k worth of damage and have a 4k beater that can pop cards on the field, which is nice. And then finishing off, we have the number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon to negate spell cards and redirect attacks. If you have this card with the Morpheus Goliath lock, your opponent pretty much just auto loses. And that pretty much concludes the deck. If you look at my sideboard, this isn't really my sideboard, they're just cards I recommend. So this build was made before, assuming that without actually going into the Maximum Crisis format. So I'm not counting those cards yet as in my main build. So as a result, you're not seeing Ghost Dash in my build. But when Maximum Crisis comes out, and if you can afford a copy of this card, or if you get lucky enough to pull some, definitely put it in Ghost Dash. It's going to save your life. And if that's the case, I also would add a copy of Max C. So, like I said, Wonder Wand is easily the first card you can take out. You can also take out a Dragon Shrine or a copy of Dragon Spear of White. If you take out Dragon Spear of White, I highly recommend you also take out 1 copy of Trade-In, because you just have less targets for Trade-In and it makes it less consistent. So that's my reason for this. And I also kept the Maiden with Eyes of Blue and Mausoleum in here because I'll show a combo tutorial tomorrow about what you can do with Maiden of Eyes of Blue and Mausoleum of White. But if you're not running the Brilliant Fusion engine and if you don't like it, I highly recommend you play these 2 cards. There's some pretty nasty combos you can do. And if you take out Seraphonite, put in Crystal Wing. And like I said, tomorrow in my combo tutorial, I'll show you guys the combo I'm referring to, but it's pretty nasty. So I know this video is a bit longer than normal, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Comment in the comment section down below what you guys thought about the deck. Do you think the updated version is better than the original, or do you think the original was in most ways better than the new one? If you guys play a variant of Blue Eyes, whether it's pure or invoked, comment in the comment section down below what your build is like and what changes you recommend for my build or cards you think I should try. So once again, it's AfroJoeTCG. I want to thank you guys so much for watching and supporting me this entire time, and I'll see you guys on the next video.